Hello, welcome to my channel. Syslong helps you learn languages systematically. This is the first video of my channel, which aims at making your language learning systematic and thus more efficient for adults to learn languages. Although I have a big plan for my channel, I would like to start with something from my daily life now, since I'm learning Dutch. And I hope I will have the time to build up my channel to gradually cover more languages. This video will be about the comparison between the Dutch and the German languages on orthography. Dutch and German belong to the West branch of the Germanic language family, and they are particularly close to each other. It is very easy for a speaker or learner of one language to notice the common features shared by the other language. But as the main aspect of their distinction, there's different logic in their orthographies. First of all, what is orthography? You can understand it as basically how to spell the language, but it also contains hyphenation, capitalization, punctuation, etc. The orthography always originates from the sound of the language. For example, you hear the word Nederlands. You know it should be written like this in Dutch. The orthography tells you that you cannot write the words like these. And there are several rules in the orthography that govern the logic to spell the words. Please note that I'm discussing in the direction of how to write down sound, not the opposite direction of how you should pronounce a written form of a language. The first aspect I would like to talk about is how long and short vowels are reflected in both languages. Let's start with the concepts of an open syllable and a closed syllable. An open syllable ends with a vowel. The X denotes anything before the vowel. It can be nothing, another vowel, or a consonant. A closed syllable contains a vowel, but it has to end with consonants. For example, the Dutch words zij is an open syllable and zijn is a closed syllable. Based on these, syllabification means how you can split a word into multiple syllables. Like for the Dutch word aantrekken. You can split it into 3 syllables. Note that you need to give one K to the previous syllable and another K to the last syllable. As in Dutch, a syllable shouldn't start with doubling the same consonant. Like many Germanic languages, Dutch distinguishes long vowels and short vowels. The word ja has a long vowel and doesn't have a consonant after it, so we only write the vowel once. The word Dao has a long vowel and ends with a consonant. In the spelling, the vowel is written twice to represent the long vowel. And the word das has a short vowel and ends with a consonant. It is written as a normal closed syllable to show the vowel should be short. Now let's change the forms of these words. The plural form of Dao is Dale. It becomes 2 syllables, and the first one ends with a vowel now, so it doesn't need to be doubled. However, the plural form of das, dasse, you have to double the consonant. Thus, after the syllabification, you will find the first syllable is still closed. Otherwise, the first syllable would become open and the vowel would change. So we can summarize the rule as, when there is an open syllable, the vowel is naturally long. If the syllable is closed, but you still want to write a long vowel, you need to double the vowel. And when there's a closed syllable, the vowel is naturally short. And you have to consider if you need to double the following consonant to create a closed environment for the short vowel. Now, as an example, let's try to change the form of praten. Its present tense first person singular form should be praat, and A is doubled according to the rule. But its past tense first person singular form is prate, which in principle should be reduced to this form. But this is an exception, because the second T is the past tense ending while the first T belongs to the stem. Then let's look at German. Firstly, German has multiple ways to write a long vowel, such as adding an H in Fahrt or doubling the vowel in Ha. But in order to compare with Dutch, let's consider what if there is a single written vowel. If there's no consonant or only one consonant after the vowel, the vowel is long, such as da, gut. If there are two consonants or even more after the vowel is short, such as bet, selbst. In the framework of this spelling design, you don't need to change the word stem when changing its form. When you add endings to these words, such as gute, betten, the vowel length is kept and doesn't break the rules. Now we can simply summarize the rules. A vowel is long when it's followed by 0 or 1 consonant, and it's short when it's followed by 2 or more than 2 consonants. Let's take a look at another phenomenon. This is a German verb legen. Its present tense third person singular is legt. The form seems to reflect a short vowel, but it is actually still a long vowel. This is an exception, and it breaks the rules. You can only pronounce it correctly if you recognize how it is derived. Let's now put the Dutch rules and the German rules side by side. The Dutch orthography maintains the consistency of spelling and pronunciation, while in German it has consistency for most cases, but the rules are broken in exceptions. However, the Dutch orthography makes the word stems not consistent, while in German the stems are always kept the same, and you don't need to consider the syllabification to decide how to spell. In the second part of the video, I would like to talk about umlaut in German. Umlaut literally means sound change. In German, it means the most distinct feature of German scripts, the double dots on several vowels. I advise that you should treat the letters a, u as sound changes of a, o, u, rather than independent letters. Umlaut shows the relation between a front vowel and its counterpart back in the mouth. As you can see, the two groups in the vowel chart that we often use in phonetics. Umlaut has influence on a lot of word changes in German. For example, a single syllable stemmed noun, Fuß, becomes Füße as plural. And most importantly, it happens to considerable amounts of irregular verbs. Here I give an example of the verb tragen, whose present tense third person singular form is trägt. The past tense first person singular form is trug, but when you need to derive other forms based on this past stem, for example, the second subjunctive first person singular form, an umlaut is required, and it becomes trüge. Umlaut also happens to other cases. Alt becomes älter as the comparative form, and Tag becomes täglich as the adjective. When you learn German, I think this is one of the most iconic, fascinating phenomena in the German inflection. However, Dutch doesn't have such iconic vowel changes. Like many other Germanic languages, Dutch shares some vowel changes in a set of irregular verbs. When you see such an irregular verb, it's highly probable that it's also irregular in German and English. For example, the word for speak, spreken in Dutch and sprechen in German. Their past tense are sprach, sprach, and spoke. Past participles are gesproken, gesprochen, and spoken. And in German, you still need to remember another form, the present tense third person singular, spricht. These sound changes often come from the Proto-Germanic language, but I'm not denying that some of these changes were generated by the mutations equivalent to the German umlaut. However, in German, the umlaut is so particularly apparent that it makes sense to design a special system to notate it, while it is not necessary for the Dutch orthography. In the third part, I will list some vowel combinations in both languages. Some combinations can denote single vowels, such as the Dutch y, u, ö, and a only in historical spelling, and the German combinations for y. And some combinations denote diphthongs, because there are quite a few diphthongs in Germanic languages, such as the Dutch I, and the letter combination IJ is very unique for Dutch, Others like ao, au, you, we, u, I, eu, oi. And German has 3 diphthongs, I, au, and oi. In the fourth part, I would like to discuss a consonant group in Dutch and German. In Dutch, S is S and Z is Z. They are a pair of voiced and voiceless counterparts. There is a tendency in some regions in the Netherlands to pronounce some voiced fricatives like Z in the voiceless way, but here for the discussion of orthography, we definitely need to treat Z and S as different phonemes. While in German, S has a Z sound. For the S sound, you have to write either Eszett or double S. Well, single S can have a S sound when it's at an ending position, but I would rather treat it as obeying the rule of devocalization of voiced ending consonant. And the letter Z is used for another sound, ts. The ts sound is quite iconic in German, which is a consequence of the High German language undergoing the second Germanic consonant shift, which I will surely talk about in another video. The Dutch word zenden and the German word zenden have the same pronunciation, but you have to use Z and S for the initial consonant in Dutch and German respectively. As for the German Eszett or double S, the rule on the number of consonants applies also here. For example, Fuß, you want the vowel to be long, so you are only allowed to use one consonant after it, so it is Eszett. Another example, Schließen, after a vowel combination, you don't need to double the consonant, so you use a Eszett. While in the past participle, geschlossen, you want the vowel to be short, so you have to use at least 2 consonants after it. In this case, it has to be double S. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe if you like my video. Please comment below if you want me to talk about other themes of languages. I'm a native speaker of Chinese Mandarin. Please let me know if you want to see a series on the Chinese language. I hope I will put more things into my channel and make it more useful for you all. Languages are systematic, and I will help you learn languages systematically. See you next time.